On the morning of September 11th, 2001, Jason Thomas, a former Marine Corps sergeant, dropped everything he was doing because he felt compelled to respond to a horrific terrorist attack. While most people were numbed with silence, watching the destruction and chaos from a distance, Jason had to do something. Against all odds, Jason ventured off into the scalding ruins of what was once the towering World Trade Center, determined to find survivors that by most other accounts were presumed dead. Jason's tenacity paid off after he and another former Marine dug ceaselessly into the burning and twisted rubble and located 2 trapped police officers, which led to their rescue. He spent the next 2.5 weeks at the sacred ground, praying over the dead and helping wherever he could. Day after day, Jason went back, hoping he could find other survivors and send them home to their families. Jason risked his own life and his future with his family by conducting this voluntary search and rescue at the World Trade Center on 9/11. What an excruciating and horrific day for America. How terrible it was for all those who lost their lives that day. Many died heroes. Jason too could have died, but he lived, and now he is here to share his story of strengths, challenges, and character. Recently, the whole world finally learned of his courageous, humble, and respectful actions that day and made him a living hero. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jason Thomas.
We went ahead and started across this pile of rubble. And I'm telling you right now, it blew my mind. I mean, it was definitely one of those moments in life that you said to yourself, I got to persevere. I have to persevere. You know, I want to turn back, and I can turn back at any time. Any time. So I had the opportunity to turn back at any time. But when you take that narrow road, see that wide road? What happens on that wide road? You know, you have the opportunity, I'm going to turn around, I'm out of here, no. I have kids, definitely, and that's understandable. That's understandable, but on that narrow road, it's no turning back. One, I'm a Marine, we don't go backwards, we go forward. So it was no going back. And a firefighter, we get about halfway across, and this one firefighter yells out to us and tells us to come on back. And that's what I shouted out to him. I said, we're Marines. We don't go backwards, we go forward. And he told me, that's good, because the building to the left and the building to the right, we're going to be spraying off. And he said, don't come back. Don't come back, because if you do, you may get washed away, and we will never know. So we had really no other choice. No choice at all. I remember just continuing to crawl across. We didn't walk across the debris. We crawled across, inch by inch by inch. And at times, I remember my boots sinking into the rebar because the rebar was so hot. My hands felt like they were on fire. But I continued to persevere, just continue to fight through. And every step that we took, I remember just yelling out beneath, this is the United States Marines. Is there anyone down there? Is there anyone down there? This is the United States Marines. And we yelled that out every inch we crawled. But there was nothing. And I remember just, it was like, I got to continue on. But it's like every inch I took, there's huge gaping holes. There's debris that's falling down into these gaping holes. There's fires pouring out. There's rebar everywhere. So it's like if you slip, it's over. If you slip, it's over. And you just continue to fight across and yell. That whole day I was told, don't go within this, this area here. Stay back, stay away, go home, things of that nature. You shouldn't be here. But that narrow road, that you belong right there. And I remember just continuing to fight forward. I remember tumbling to this hot fiery hole, and just landing on my back. And it knocked the wind out me, and I'm laying on my back, and I'm looking up, and, I see off to the left of me this huge piece of steel, red hot. And it blew my mind, because here it is, almost 10 hours, and we got that type of, the situation, it just made me that much more aware that it was bad. But what really blew my mind was we had 2 members in that hole that were still alive. That blew my mind. And I'm going to tell you, throughout my time in that hole, I felt guilty for coming out, because here it is, these guys were stuck, trapped, could not help themselves for such a long period of time, and here it is, I made myself in and out of that hole. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm not gonna make it again. If I go back in, I'm not coming out. I'm not gonna come out. I know I'm gonna die down here, but I had already promised, and it's something, when you give someone your word, you better come through. You better come through. Shame on you for not. Shame on you for not coming through. But we were down in that hole, and we continued to just dig and dig and dig for these guys. And there were so many times we could have just turned back and said, you know what, that wide open road, I'm ready to jump on. And I remember we got out Wilhelmino about 03 in the morning. We finally get him out of that hole. I remember hoisting him out, being the last person to hoist him out. And then I crawled out. When I got up topside, I looked out and I saw, it was just the most amazing thing. It was this gauntlet of people who were just passing him down this gauntlet to safety. And it was, everyone was clapping and cheering, and it was a very emotional time. But I knew that the mission was not accomplished, because we had another person down in that hole. And I challenge you right now to stay on that narrow road and fight, persevere. You are all heroes. You all are heroes. Just dig down deep within yourself. Dig within yourself. Stay on that narrow road, because there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'd like to say God bless you, and thank you so much for having me out tonight.
And then